Hey guys, it's Coach Chris, Bryn Mawr College Soccer, and I am so excited to have the chance to share with you information about our Heads Up Soccer program for 2021. I'm thrilled. A quick introduction for those of you who don't know it, Heads Up Soccer is a mental training program. It gives us process and tools to be more confident and more focused in the way that we approach and play the game. Heads Up Soccer is easy to understand. None of the individual components are difficult to understand, but how we use them to improve our game is probably going to be new to some of you, and that's totally cool. The premise is simple. With mental training, we presume that we're already thinking about the game, all of us all the time. And the proposal is that we take control of the way that we think about the game and the way that we are thinking when we're preparing for training in games and after we play. So my promise to you is that if you lean in and engage with the Heads Up Soccer program, I promise that you will become a better player. Also, I think that soccer will become more engaging and more interesting to you individually. Those are the promises. The plan is to make you think about where mental training fits into the training program, and that's real simple. You have fitness training, you have technical training, you have tactical training, there's film, and there's mental training. So the idea here is that it's something that you learn about, something that you work on and exercise and improve over time. So how we're going to incorporate Heads Up Soccer during the off season is that I'm going to ask you to do some individual work that I'll describe in a moment. When you return to campus for preseason, I'd like you to be ready to share that work with the team. We'll use that information as part of our individual approaches for training and on game day. And then at some point, we'll also take some of the individual thinking and put it together into more team thinking, which is going to support all of us with our individual approach to Heads Up Soccer. So what you're going to need for this is you're going to need a notebook, something from the dollar store, 99 cents works. It's got to fit into your Bryn Mawr Soccer College backpack. So you'll need that. This is going to be your journal. You're also going to need something to write with. You will need time to set aside, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 hours during the preseason to get this done. You're going to need to be able to reflectively, think about some of the stuff that we're asking you to journal about. And I'm going to ask you to embrace, you're going to need to be thinking about things in a different way. So let's get journaling. There will be 7 entries in your journal when you come to preseason. And I want you to think about each entry in the journal as kind of a draft entry. It's okay just to do some brainstorming there, to do some refinement if you get that far, that's totally cool. But we want this to be an organic process. We also want the information that you give to yourself in the preseason to kind of morph and change as you grow as a player and as a human being. So what are the 7 entries? The first one is, I want you to answer why you play the game. And here you might need a construct, and here's one that I can offer you. Imagine it's your retirement party. Your career is over, end of college, end of pro, end of whenever. And all your favorite players from your past and present are there. Your favorite coaches are there, your family, your friends, people who really watched over soccer and cared about you as a player. And your favorite person from that group, or maybe there's more than one, stands up and talks about you as a player and says that, you were this kind of a player. What does she say? I'd like you to use kind of that as your structure for thinking about why you play the game. The reason why we do this is because when you're grinding it out over the course of a game, over the course of a season, or during your career, and you will be grinding it out, that's a guarantee, you want to have the answer to the following question fixed in your mind. Why am I doing this? Why do I play the game? So the idea here is that you're going to be using this kind of question and the answer to sustain your momentum and your engagement over the long haul. For me, there are things that I just didn't expect when I answered this question for myself. One is social. Soccer is very social for me. I connect very strongly with the people who I play with. The other is that for me personally, it's an international game, and I love that. I also love the problem-solving part of soccer. That motivates me. That's one of the reasons why I play. And I also love the feeling I have when I get off the field and I've played my A game. I've played well. We've won. I love that feeling so much. It keeps taking me back. The next journal entry is I'd like you to write down 3 goals for the season. What these goals have to have in common is that they need to be specific, they need to be measurable in some way, they need to be achievable and realistic, and they need to be time bound. So these are goals for the season, which includes, your preseason, anything leading up to that, and your season all the way through. The reason why we want goals for our season is to have us using them as a tool to be focused on why we play and to measure how we're doing the year. We want to measure ourselves against our goals. Also, I'd like you to afterwards think about the next journal entry, which is number 3. What are your 3 goals for preseason? And we'll use these goals to keep us focused on why we play. And we should feel, obviously, that these goals are connected to the season goals in entry number 2. Again, the goals should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound, therefore the preseason. For the next 3 entries, I want you to be thinking about routines. What are your routines as a player that you use to approach the game? And here we're going to focus specifically on training, the training sessions, and you're going to have a lot of those during the season. So I want you to have one entry for what are the routines that you want to put before you and practice before training as you're building up to training. It could be that you lay out all your gear, you see it, it's visual, you put it in your bag. You might be less organized, and instead it's a ritual of just having your checklist in front of you to get your bag ready to make sure you never, show up to the field without something. It could be breathing, it could be self-talk, whatever it is on your way to training. The next are the routines that you have during training. If you've never thought about that before, you're going to start doing that now. What are the routines that you have that keep you focused and engaged and healthy and, emotionally, engaged during training? And the next journal entry is for after training. What do you do to, what are your routines to recover, to reflect, and to re-energize and regenerate for the next game, whatever it is, but what are your routines kind of post-training, either mentally and or physically, diet, whatever, sleep, whatever it is. For number 6, sorry about that. For number 7, I want you to begin focusing on self-talk. This fits into the very broad category of self-regulation. Self-regulation is something that we think about to be in control of the way that we're thinking and our emotions, because we can't really be in control of our performance until we're in control of kind of who we are and our being and in the moment. So this is really, self-regulation is something to go to when the garbage hits the fan, and it will hit the fan. So you want to be ready for that. Self-talk is all about choosing how you control that voice in your head. So there are going to be moments where you're uncertain about your performance and how you're feeling, and self-talk is a way just to kind of funnel back into the game. And it's something, these are phrases that you prepare in your mind before you get to those moments where the garbage hits the fan. Here are a few things that some professional athletes, men and women, kind of say as their self-talk during training and during games. Hey, Chris, stick with your approach. Hey, Chris, get into the game. Get into the game. Chris, keep the routine going. Keep the routine going. Chris, don't worry about the result. Stick with the process. Stick with the approach. Don't worry about the result. Chris, get back into the moment. Get back into the moment. Here's my favorite. Chris, the ball is coming to me. I know the ball is coming to me. The ball is coming to me. Here's another one. Just count to 10. Got to get focused. All right, 1, 2. We're funneling in. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Find something to calm yourself down. So those are the 7 journal entries. I'll go over them real quick one more time. It's describe 3 things that answer the question, why do I play the game? Number 2, 3 goals for your entire season, including preseason. Number 3, 3 goals for preseason alone, connected to number 2. Number 4, your routines, maybe 3 things that you do to funnel in before training. Number 5, your routines during training, perhaps 3 things that you do to stay focused and calm during training and engaged? Number 6, your routines after training. What are 3 things or more that you do to recover, reflect, and regenerate after training? And then finally, some phrases that you use for self-talk, and maybe even elaborate like why these phrases are important to you. So let me finish by kind of asking the question, why does this feel so personal? It feels very personal for me to be asking you of these things, of this information. And I think the reason why it feels so personal is because mental training is not a one size fits all. It's really, really individualized and unique. And another thing is because it feels so personal because we're really asking you to engage at the essence of mental training, and it's to learn how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You're going to be uncomfortable, and you've got to get comfortable with that in order to get through and tough moments and achieve your goals. So that's all I got for you. Get in touch if you need any help. I'll make sure you've got my contact information, and I look forward to seeing all of you in August. Have a great summer, and go Owls.